Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. Folks, I have been dying for this comparison for ages, ever since I saw the 2018 Omega Seamaster Professional Diver 300 meter, now 42 millimeters. I felt that a comparison was in order to its closest equivalent in the existing Seamaster Planet Ocean family, technically the flagship of the Omega Seamaster line. We're going to compare these two watches, 39.5 millimeters and 42, both in stainless steel, with identical calibers, and decide which one has the edge as of 2018. This is a new world of Omega divers, and we're starting with the veteran. This is a watch redesigned for 2016, the year the Planet Ocean was revised with new case sizes and new master chronometer movements. So this is the Planet Ocean 600 meter master chronometer, 39.5 millimeter, and it's exactly what the case size suggests. It is the most accessibly sized Planet Ocean. The new 43.5 just seems like a huge watch on the wrist, and so while it may seem closer in size to a 42, this watch actually wears closer to the Diver 300 in 42. So on the wrist, it's not terribly thick at 14.3 millimeters thick. It's 39.5, but you've also got the helium escape valve, you've got the crown, you've got a little bit of shear guard buffering, not quite a traditional crown guard for the crown itself. On my 16 centimeter wrist, you can see that the timepiece is 45.2 millimeters lug to lug, and here's its most compact dimension relative to its newer and newly revamped 42 millimeter counterpart. So the watch does wear narrow across the wrist. If you have a very narrow wrist, this might be the one you choose on that basis. The strap size is going to be 19 millimeters, and the strap is a rich piece, as you can see. It's a combination Hublot style of a rectangular scale alligator leather with a contrasting stitch in white, and then there is a natural vulcanized rubber in blue on the underside. This is not necessarily a swimmable strap. You're going to have to put this on a pure textile or rubber to take this in the water, but it's a gorgeous piece, and it is objectively more expensive than the rubber on the Diver 300. It comes with a full stainless steel clasp, and as you can see, it is double finished, satin and polished with a trigger system, so it can't pop open. You must positively release it, and it has a minderless system to tuck excess length underneath the clasp body, so there are no minder loops, there's no excess length flapping in the breeze. The case band is superficially similar to the Diver 300, with the main difference being the Diver 300 has a distinct set of shear guards, true crown guards in the traditional sense, whereas the Planet Ocean has always had more of a shouldered profile. Like the older Aquaterras, is a little bit of a countersink to the crown rather than a full-bodied horn-style crown guard. The timepiece has a wonderful integration of the strap into the case band. It's as flush to the case as if it were a bracelet. You have satin, you have polish, and you have the older style Omega helium escape valve, and I do say older style because the phase-in of the new conical profile has begun with the 25th anniversary Diver 300. The watch has a deeper and sharper knurling about its bezel, and this is critical because the knurling on the Diver 300 has always been rather shallow, which makes this the natural choice if you're actually diving because it's simply that much easier to grip with wet, sweaty, or gloved hands. The action is positive. You can feel it, you can hear it, and I appreciate the fact that on the Planet Ocean, not only do you get 600 meter rather than 300 meter water resistance, but the ceramic bezel features liquid metal inserts rather than the white enamel that has been applied to the Diver 300. Finally, the dial itself. The dial is ceramic, just as on the Diver 300, but it's a gloss ceramic that has a seamless surface, so it looks like enamel, it looks like lacquer. The applique, the indices, the hands, this is the Planet Ocean, this is the flagship, they are white gold. So what you have here is rather deluxe. Tri-Arabics, oversized indices, and far better legibility, at least given these two particular dials. There are more legible, higher contrast Diver 300 dials, but at least between these two versions, I'm going to give daytime legibility to the Planet Ocean. Now you turn it over, and you quickly realize these two watches feature the same caliber. This is the caliber 8800, not the 8900 featured on the 43.5 millimeter Planet Ocean. That movement is twin mainspring barrel. It features a 60 rather than 55 hour power reserve, and it features that time zone function so you can jump the hour hand independently. And you can see the exact same movement now with the first series production display caseback in the history of the Diver 300 series. So let's talk about the 25th anniversary Diver 300. Of course, the first one launched in 1993. This is one of the longest longest-serving designs in the ever-changing Seamaster family. Rarely have Seamaster designs made it this long. In fact, this might be the all-time mark. You can see on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, it has a broader stance. It's a 42, so it's bigger in that regard, but it's also 13.7 millimeters thick, so it's thinner. It's 0.6 millimeters thinner, and that makes a difference because it's so broad it looks incredibly flat compared to the Planet Ocean. Lug to lug, it's 49.6, so objectively quite a bit larger across the wrist with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Now you do get something for the 6450 of the Planet Ocean versus the 4750, and that difference is a rubber strap here, no leather, and you have a simple pin buckle designed for this model with a handsome flare that mimics the bezel, but nevertheless a pin buckle, not a clasp. The case band is smooth, slim, graceful, and arcing, and you can see the helium valve, which can now be opened underwater with no hazard, has a conical profile. The bezel has been redesigned. It has a positive ratchet, and it's fairly loud, but it's not quite as precise or positive as the Planet Ocean. Ceramic insert, all of high gloss, but with that white cold enamel inlay. It's not quite as durable as the liquid metal of the Planet Ocean. The dial is also ceramic, but unlike the gloss, seamless Planet Ocean, this new one features laser-etched waves, so it's the return of the much-loved Omega Seamaster Diver 300 waves that were absent from 2012 to 2017. They're back, and they're much appreciated. The skeleton-style Bond hands have been reprofiled, and of course, this is the design made famous by 007, particularly Pierce Brosnan during his tour of duty as the world's favorite secret agent. The date has been moved from 3 o'clock down to 6 o'clock, and you can see all of the indices are blued, they are applique, and the Omega logo here is transferred on rather than an applique as on the Planet Ocean, so there is a little bit of distinction in dial quality, with the Planet Ocean having a slight edge with applique logo and white gold rather than metallic standard steel and blued. So we are also looking at a movement that is identical. We may as well talk about the specs here because they're the same across the two watches. Caliber 8800 master chronometer. It's the Maytas fully cased up standard, so everything from anti-magnetic resistance to water resistance, winding efficiency, power reserve, and unlike the COSC test, it's a fully cased up, not bare movement test, and unlike the COSC test, it's a 6-position test, not a 5-position test, so adjusted deviation has nowhere to hide. Automatic winding in both cases, 55 hours in both cases. Neither one of them has the time zone function, but both have a conventional quick set date mechanism as well as hacking or stop seconds. Now, of course, this watch 300 meters rather than 600 meters water resistant, but the 35 joule movement is the same. Both have a free sprung balance and a full balance bridge for shock resistance, and the SI14 silicon hairspring for anti-magnetism. Realistically, the two watches are effectively amagnetic. They really have no vulnerability to the magnetism you'll face even in MRI conditions. So these should be regarded as amagnetic watches. Finally, both of them feature the George Daniels conceived Omega industrialized tangential contact tri-level coaxial escapement. Still the most exotic escapement you can purchase for under $50,000. So let's talk about what each one has in terms of advantages. Okay, the rookie, or I should say, this is the veteran because this design's been around since '93. New for this year, this is the 25th anniversary Diver 300. What's changed and what's better? The dial drama. It simply has more articulation, greater depth, greater texture, a more impressive surfacing, and the metallic transferred PVD luster of this ruthenium coloration. It's actually a gray chrome color. It is incredibly compelling. So this one actually has dial drama and detail on its side, even if the white gold of the Planet Ocean is technically a little bit richer. Also, this one has better lumen. You're going to see that in a moment. It's the easier watch to see at night. The timepiece is objectively slimmer. It is narrower if you measure it top to bottom, but it looks far thinner because it has a broader stance across the wrist. The Planet Ocean is 0.6 millimeters thicker, but it's only 45 lug to lug. This is 49 lug to lug, almost 50, so it seems incredibly slim by comparison, and it's competitive with a Submariner in that regard. Proportionally, it's beautiful. It has a new valve that is a little bit more attractive in profile, less blockish, and of course it can be operated underwater now. Rarely needed, but nice to have. Near iconic design. Again, the first customers of the Diver 300 back in '93 would recognize this watch 25 years later as the descendant of their timepiece. The case has grace, and the crown guards, the traditional horn style, are simply more appealing. They have a beautiful, slim, diminishing taper, something that the recession of the Planet Ocean simply lacks. Okay, the Planet Ocean, its advantages. The dial materials are objectively superior. The white gold is more beautiful in detail and more expensive to specify. Applique, logo, and Omega marquee. No cheating there, no transferred. Fit, lug to lug. If you've got that small wrist, 14 centimeters or smaller, this is the one you're going to have to wear by default. A richer strap and a full clasp, you do get something for your money. Now, of course, this watch, $6,450 new versus $4,750 for the other watch, but this timepiece does have better legibility by day. So on a purely functional basis, this one is worth its extra coin during the day. Now at night, the equation shifts. So which one do I favor in the end? I have to admit the Planet Ocean is more expensively manufactured, but it doesn't always look that way. The dial, the stance, the elegance, the heritage, and the enduring design of the Diver 300 meter makes it my pick in this phase. So if you guys tell me in the chat box below which one of these two you would choose for your lonesome. Diver 300 meter on the left, Planet Ocean 39.5 on the right. You can see the 300 meter wins this one easily, though I gave the Planet Ocean points for a larger bezel luminescent pearl as well as better bezel action. You can feel it, you can hear it. But again, all up, I'm a 300 meter man. See it, make your choice on the watch box.